Hey guys, it's Mrs. Lamphere, and in this video we are looking at the Hyperlinks Assignment, Day 1, and if we go to page 2, you can click on this link to download the instructions, which I've already done, and pulled them up here. So these are the instructions for the Hyperlinks Assignment. However, it does start, as you were reading through the text, you should have been completing some activities and then we're going to make some changes to what you should have already completed. So if we're going to go back and kind of start where you should have started in the hyperlinks lesson. So on page 5 is where it talks about internal links, and it kind of shows us the code for what the code looks like to link to an internal page in our website. So if you go, that was on page 5. If you go to page 7, this is the code we're going to be using because we want to link our invitation and webmaster roles into a portfolio page. So we're actually going to highlight this code, Control C, open up a notepad and paste it in there. And then on the next page, you'll see we want to save this file as index.html to your main portfolio folder, not inside any unit folder, but to our main portfolio folder. So we're saving this as index.html in my portfolio folder, not inside any of our unit folders, just to clarify. So we'll save that. And we still have to go in though and add in the code to create our internal links to get to these two pages, our invitation that we should have created by now and the webmaster role web page that we created. So I'm going to go back to page 5 where I know that code is. So we learned that we need this anchor tag along with the hyperlink reference code in order to link the text to the page we want it to go to when you click on that link. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this code, go back to my notepad, and for my invitation page, I'm going to paste it right there in front. So right now I'm telling my web page, okay, here's an anchor. This starts my hyperlink. My hyperlink reference is to go to mypage.html. I'm going to change that to I can't remember off the top of my head what I named my, I think it's something like invite 3. If I need to go in and remember exactly how I named that invite. So I'm inside my unit 3 folder, inside my invitation folder, and yes, I called it invite 3 lowercase. So I need to type that in my code. Invite3.html, so that's the page I want to link to. Now, we learned, and hopefully you were at our Class Connect where we talked about creating the file path in order to get to our invite3.html file, because we are working in this page right here. We're working on our index page, and now we are trying to link our index page to our invitation page. So now we have to set up the file path in order to tell this web page how to get to our invite page. So I have to tell my website to go from starting an index, I need to go inside my unit 3 folder, inside my invitation folder, in order to grab that invite3.html. So in my code, I need to add that in there. So inside my unit 3 folder, you need to then go inside my invitation folder. So then I always use, so I put my unit 3 folder, / invitation folder, / then I tell it to grab that HTML page. Okay, so now I don't want it to say my page. I want it to say invitation. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that invitation from there and put invitation in place of my page, and then make sure I put that post paragraph tag back in. So we should have this open paragraph tag, anchor, hyperlink reference equals unit 3, invitation, invite3.html, all in those quotation marks. Make sure you got your quotation marks there. And the text we want shown is invitation. So let's save that and see where we're at. So I'm going to go back and open my index file because that's the one I'm working in. And there we go. There's the link to my invitation page. So if your link's not working, something's probably going wrong in your file path. So double check your file path structure if that link isn't working quite right. So now I'm going to go back and do the same thing in order to link to my webmaster role page. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this code here, paste it in front of my webmaster role. Make sure I also grab this closing tag. Don't want to forget that, otherwise my link won't work. And so now I need to make sure I set up the correct file path structure to get to my webmaster role page. So my webmaster role is also in my, whoop, not that one, Unit 3 folder. And this was the CSS assignment, where you applied the different CSS styles to create turn your essay into a website assignment. So again, that was in my Portfolio Unit 3 CSS assignment. That's the file path I need to add in here. So I'm going to go into my Unit 3 folder, and I can delete. It doesn't have to go into any other folder after that. Now I just type in CSS assignment exactly as I have it saved. If I don't have the correct name typed in there, you'll notice it doesn't work. So I have a capital CSS, and then I start lowercase assignment. So we'll save that and open that back up. And now I have a link to my webmaster role page. So that worked well too. So I have both those links active and working. Alright, so now we have those links set up, and we learned on pages 9, 10, and 11 of this section how to change the color of our links. So our next task is to open our index file back up and add the code from the previous page to change the colors of the links. Add the code to set the colors for a link, an active link, and a visited link. Then watch the video to see if you did it correctly. So on the previous page, they give you the code. So there's the link to get this code, and we need to copy all of this CSS styles and put that over into our own code. So in our heading, right after our heading, we're going to paste in those CSS styles. And you'll notice we read about how the default colors were blue, red, and purple. I think that's kind of outdated because you'll notice when we did this, when we created our page, those weren't exactly the default colors that our web page went to, but we can change those colors up anyways. So here's the code to kind of get us started. Let's go ahead and save this just to kind of see what that looks like so far. So after applying this was the kind of original links that we created. Once we applied the styles that your text gave us, this is the new style that created. So when we click on the link, it takes us to our pages still, but we have those different styles added to our CSS now to apply to those links. So now we can go in and we can kind of have a little fun with this. We can change up the colors, we can change up the font styles, we can change up the size. So if you'll remember from our Class Connect, we talked about this A link reference is for determines the active link. Then this styles for when we hover over the link, and then this style should be applied once we've selected the link. And you'll actually notice, so I'm in Firefox right now, and as I'm mousing over these different colors, they should be changing a little bit because we have those styles set up in our code. But when I open it in Google Chrome, you'll notice it does work. It does work. So it kind of, and then it will change the color. so that's kind of the funny thing about using different browsers, is they're going to kind of work a little differently depending on how the website's set up, what your code is like, whether or not it's set up to adjust to different browsers. But so you'll kind of notice some differences whether you're using Firefox or Chrome. I'm not going to be too concerned with making sure that these change colors and are looking correct. My biggest concern is going to be that your code is correct, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're working on this assignment. All right, so let's go in and change some of these colors that we have. I'm going to go in and open my color chart of colors that we should have downloaded a couple lessons ago. And so now I can scroll through and kind of choose different colors that I want to apply to my links. So maybe I want it to start out with this crimson color. I'm going to copy that color code, go back to my index HTML and paste it in. And let's grab a different one for when we mouse over code. And I'm just kind of grabbing at different colors here. And one more for when we have visited the link. And let's go ahead and save that, but before I check it out, I'm going to also kind of change up some other things. So maybe I want it to start out at a smaller font size, and then when you hover over it, it becomes bigger. And then maybe once you've visited it, it goes back to small. And maybe also when you hover over it, I want it to change to, oh, maybe Verdana. Let's see what that does. So save that, go back, and get that open. So you'll notice when I mouse over, since I've changed this, the active link just shows the plain color in the 18-point font, but when I mouse over it, you'll notice it changes sizes. So I have that because I set that up in my CSS styles. Let's kind of see what this looks like in Chrome and see if it looks any different, because I applied some different colors, but it's not showing up in Firefox. So let's see what Chrome does. It doesn't want to read my colors there either. So you'll notice there are some kind of glitches in this code, and I'm not really sure how to get that fixed. But again, mainly I'm not looking that everything looks exactly how it should, but what I'm looking for is your code here. So I actually just did some quick research and found that you need to have, in your CSS styles, you need to have these in a certain order in order for them to work correctly. And what it said was our visited style should be above our hover style. So I'm going to copy and cut that visited style and go ahead and put it in right above my hover style. Save that and open that up and see what difference that makes. So there we go. That time it works a little better. So I'm in Firefox, and before it wasn't changing colors, but now since I've rearranged those CSS styles, now it likes those colors. So again, that's kind of the crazy thing with code. It's very, very picky. So kind of interesting to see just the small difference, the difference that makes on just rearranging the style of those CSS codes. Okay, moving on. Let's go back to our text here. So we applied those different CSS styles. We have it saved as our index.html. Our next step then is to create an email link. So some websites include some text, usually an email address, that when you click on it, it opens up an email window with the address already filled in. This is basically just another link, but it does require a little special coding, and it looks like so. So we're going to create an email link, and the instructions in this video kind of walk you through how to add this email link to your portfolio page. I'm going to go ahead and copy this code and add an email to my portfolio page here. So I'm just going to enter down, retype in what I've add my new paragraph tag, paste in what I just copied for an email link. I'm going to take out these extra spaces around that equal sign because that could throw off my code. And so you'll see that all I need for an email link is this mail to code, and then followed by the email address I want it to link to. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my, actually I'll use my Google email address, and then I'm going to change contact me to email me. So now when someone clicks on this email me, it should open up a window to through my email, so I have Outlook installed on my computer. And remember, in our Class Connect session, we talked about how if you don't have an email program installed on your computer, this might not work as popping up another window. But if you have an email program installed into your computer, then it should pop up another a window and then already have my email address there ready to go. So let's save that file and see if this worked. Okay, so there's my added email me link. If I click on that, it should, fingers crossed, pop up a window through Outlook for me with my email address already in there. So it worked good. So again, if you don't have some sort of email program installed, this probably won't work for you. Like if you just use Gmail or Hotmail, I don't think that will work. But since I have an email program installed, it works great for me. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm just going to make sure that your code is correct on my end. And when I click on it, it should work for me. But if you don't have that email program installed, it might not work. All right, let's go back to our instructions here. And let me get the right file open. Make sure we've got everything done. Because I think there's still one more step. So we added CSS to our hyperlinks to go to our invitation page, our turn your essay into a website page. We created this email link. Our next step, it says now we need to add links at the bottom of our invitation and webmaster role page in order to go back to our portfolio page. So we need to set this up so that when we click to our invitation, we need to have a link that says back to our portfolio page instead of having to hit the back button. So that means we're going to have to go into those HTML files and make some adjustments. So inside our Unit 3 folder, let's start with our invitation. So I'm going to open my invitation by right-clicking, open with. I need to get that back open in Notepad. And I'm just going to add a simple hyperlink in order to go from my invitation back to my portfolio page. So I'm going to go and copy this code that I know I'll need for a hyperlink and get that into my invite page. So in my invite page, let's see, I'm thinking I think I'll just add it under my wording for the text here. So underneath that span tag, I'm going to paste in the code for a hyperlink. Let's see if that will work. So I want this to say back to portfolio. That's what I want the text to read. And then I want to make sure I set up my file path correctly to send me back to my portfolio page. So there's a little trick when it comes to setting up your path structure to go back and to back out of different folders. Because you'll notice, so now I'm in my Invite 3 file. I need to go back into my Unit 3 folder and go back again into my portfolio folder in order to link to this index file. Okay, that's the path that I need to create. So in my code, it's actually pretty simple. The code to back out of a folder is just two simple periods. So I'm starting, I want this to go to my index.html file. And in order to get there, I need to back out of the Unit 3 folder, or back out of the invitation folder and back out of the Unit 3 folder. I'm going back two folders in order to grab that HTML or that index.html. So that's what my code is going to look like in order to back out of the folders and go back to that index.html. So let's save that and see if it worked. So I should be able to just open up my index file, click on invitation, there's my back to portfolio link, and what do you know? It takes me back to my portfolio page. So that worked pretty good. Goes to my invitation, click on back to portfolio to go back to my portfolio page. Now I need to do the same thing with my webmaster roles document. So I need to go back into my Unit 3 folder, open up my CSS assignment code, and let's go ahead and just add that. I'm going to put it below my references here. So I'm going to add in a line break, paste in that hyperlink code, and again, let's double check our file path here. So now I'm already in my Unit 3 folder with the CSS assignment, so now I just need to back out of one folder in order to get back into my portfolio folder to grab that index file. So in my code, I'm just telling it to back out of one folder in order to grab the index.html file. And again, I want this to say back to portfolio. Save, and let's check that out. So now my invitation one still works. Now let's check out my webmaster role. Here's a link to back to portfolio, and it works great. So I have all my links set up. I'm going to my invitation page, back to portfolio, webmaster role page, back to portfolio. I have my email link set up and ready to go. It should be good to go. Let's double check our instructions here. So add the links at the bottom of your invitation page and webmaster role back to your portfolio page. Check. Zip your portfolio folder and submit the zipped folder. So you're going to zip your entire portfolio folder now. So make sure you are zipping your entire portfolio folder because we have a whole bunch of, we need access to several different folders and files within our portfolio folder. So make sure you're zipping your entire portfolio folder and submitting that to the Dropbox.